So tonight, Jimmy Kimmel returned to ABC after being abruptly suspended last week by the network and its parent company, Disney. But even though Kimmel's coming back, depending on where you live, you may not be able to watch it. And this is some people have been asking me questions about this all day on social media. Media groups like Nexstar and Sinclair, two corporations that together own more than a quarter of the nation's ABC affiliate stations and were the first to pull Kimmel from their airwaves, are still refusing to air the show. When Nexstar and Sinclair pulled Kimmel off the air, both corporations said they were doing it for the communities they serve and for the, quote, public interest, which we're going to discuss in a moment, too. Sure, but there look to be other interests involved, too. I mean, after all, Sinclair is one of the largest conservative media empires in the country, and Nexstar just so happens to have a $6.2 billion merger currently awaiting government approval. Both companies are regulated by the Federal Communications Commission. Last week, when Trump's FCC chair said ABC's affiliate should yank Kimmel off the air, Sinclair and Nexstar did just that within hours. Joining me now is FCC Commissioner Ana Gomez, the agency's sole Democratic appointee, who's been helping all of us understand for days now what this all means. So let me just start with the news today I referenced, because as I said, people have been asking me this question, family members, friends, like, what if it's not playing? I mean, one of the affiliates here in D.C. isn't going to be airing Jimmy Kimmel. So Sinclair and Nexstar-owned affiliates are essentially boycotting his return, or there's a lot of ways to describe it. What does that tell us?
So your opener has it exactly right. What we have is two corporate behemoths that are imposing their values upon the local affiliates. And these local affiliates are caught in the middle. Mm-hmm. So what you are seeing is these companies who are beholden to this administration and who are, as you noted, seeking approval for transactions. They are asking the FCC to lessen the regulations, the ownership regulations, so that they can, in fact, get even bigger. And they're asking the FCC to back their efforts to change the technology that they use for broadcasting, which they think is going to really make them a lot of money. So they are putting their corporate interests above the public interest, and certainly not the communities that they are serving, because this is a national imposition of their views, not something that's being led by the community.
So what should people who feel frustrated, they want to be able to turn on their local station and see Jimmy Kimmel, or they're worried that other things they like might not appear on the air anymore, what should they be doing?
Well, what we saw with Disney was when people spoke out, Disney actually did listen. And there was a great pushback from people. And that is what we need today, is for every person to speak up and push back, because they do eventually listen if it affects their bottom line.
Are there repercussions from the FCC standpoint for these conglomerates not airing something like Jimmy Kimmel's show, or it's just their choice and that it's outside of kind of what federal law or what the FCC can do?
Yes, it is their choice. It is their business decision, and it's actually a contractual issue between them and Disney. Forced speech is also a violation of the Constitution. So while we do require broadcasters to broadcast in the public interest, we do not delve into content, which is why the threats against Disney and the affiliates were so serious.
Nexstar is, and you referenced this, and I referenced this in the opening, is currently trying to merge with Tegna, and this would be a $6.2 billion deal, as I already mentioned. It would need approval, and also some rule changes, as I understand it, given the larger percentage that they would own as if they were merged together. You referenced this, but how much of a driver do you think that is as you look at this for Nexstar in terms of trying to appease the Trump administration?
Well, this is a very big issue. Not only would if they brought this transaction before the FCC, would they need a waiver of some of our existing rules? It would actually be contrary to the statute. So they really want to appease this administration in order to get them to change the rules so that they can get even bigger.
Because right now there's a company can only own a certain percentage of affiliates, right? So 39%?
They can only reach 39% of households.
Yes. And this would bring it up to 80% almost? So they need that rule to be changed.
Yes. Well, it's actually by statute.
By statute. Okay. So they need the statute to be changed.
They need the statute to be changed. The FCC actually tried to lift that cap, and Congress did not like that. And so it came back and said, no, you are going to set that cap at 39%. So I don't believe the FCC has any discretion to lift that cap, but they are making the argument that the FCC does, in fact, have that.